Okay, so now we have our bow and we have 3 pieces of string attached to it. Let me point this up a little bit more. So we've attached the 3 main pins that we will be actually using for this bow. You can see there's one attached for a pin that will be attached to the input of this NeoPixel ring. There's also one that will be attached to ground, and there's one that will be attached to power. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start connecting the ground pin to one of the ground pins of this NeoPixel ring. So remember how we were trying to line up this NeoPixel ring to how it would fit with the Gemma when it's snapped in place. So observe how here we have ground, here we will have V out, which is our 5 volts, and here we will have pin 0. So those are the 3 snaps that we have connected onto which this Gemma will snap on. So how will this ring be positioned next to it? So this is how we line it up. You'll see there's 2 ground pins, G, G. There's 2 V plus pins down here. Here is an in and here's an out. So we're connecting the in to the 0, which is the 0 on the Gemma. We're connecting one of the grounds to the snap up here, which will correspond to the ground pin on the Gemma. And we're connecting this power pin down here to one of the V pluses, which will correspond to the V out on the Gemma. Cool. So I'm gonna eyeball on how to line this up. We want to make sure that we have enough room for the Gemma to fit. We want to make sure that's symmetrical. And now we have the shortest possible routing path from the thread to the pins. So this looks pretty good. I don't have to go very far to connect the V plus pin. Don't have to go very far to go to the ground pin. And same for the in. So what I'm going to do next is, you can see there's a short distance between the ground pin and the snap. So I'm going to do 1 stitch with this thread underneath, 1 stitch here just to get slightly closer to the ground pin. And once that is done, I will actually attach the ground pin. So we have taken this thread out of the needle before, so time to thread it back in. And once again, remember, you can wet the end of this thread if you're having a hard time putting it into the hole of the thread of the needle. So this is what I'm going to do right now. The most exciting part of the video. Alright, and about this much slack is usually good for when you're stitching. I'm going to point this slightly more upwards. And you can see I'm going to do just 1 stitch under here. And it's a little bit tough to do because of the glue. I'm using table here as my support. So now I'm going to be a little bit closer to the NeoPixel ring. So here's the ring. I'm going to arrange it as I was looking at it before to have the pins be as close as possible. So now I'm going to line up the ground pin on top of my stitch. And I'm going to thread through this. And now I've got to attach it back to the cloth. So this is how I'm going to do that. And I'm trying to stay on this middle section here of the bow, because if I sew in the butterfly wings, these sides, then I won't ever be able to swap them out. And if that's the case, I won't be able to do any other colors. And I mean, that's totally fine, but I would prefer to have more options. Alright, so now I'm just going to go through to make this connection a little bit better. I'm going to go through several times with a conductive thread, because this is basically your ground connection. I always like to start with the ground pin because it's the most fundamental connection and it prevents you from frying your electronics. So now we don't actually have an end of a string to tie a knot with. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm pulling this loop, I'm going to go and loop through my needle here and pull this tight. And then I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to do this 3 times before I cut off the thread, and then put some nail polish or glue on top of it. Nail polish is recommended, but we're currently using glue. Having a little bit of a hard time here with all the glue. It's creating resistance, but at the same time, the glue that's in the composition of the bow from when we glued it together is going to keep this thread in place. So now that I'm done with this part, remember you keep your needle somewhere safe. I'm going to cut off the end of this. I'm not gonna let a lot hang out because that will short with other things. And so after that, I'm going to put some glue on this. I'm going to repeat the process for the V+. Do a tiny little stitch to take it a little bit closer to this little hole here. And then for the in, we're going to have to go a little bit farther. And we're going to make sure that we don't connect to this snap here, because that can create a short. So I'll do 1 stitch in this direction, and we'll create a connection here while keeping this aligned.